we start off with paying respects to the Buddha, first bow, second bow, third bow. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Iti piso bhagava araham samma sambuddho vijjacarana sampano sugato lokavidu alutaro purisa dhamma sarati sattva deva manusana buddho bhagavati Swagato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pacatam Veditabo Vinyungiti Supatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samicipatipano Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidan Cattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pukala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Ahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutaram Punya Kita Lokasati. Okay, so we are going to turn to page 31. 31 is Jaya Mangala Gatha. So we are reciting the English version. And these are the victory stories of the Buddha. Okay, so start. Creating 1,000 hands with weapons. Armed was Mara seated on the trumpeting, ferocious elephant Giri Mekala. Him, together with his army, did the Lord of Sages subdue by means of generosity and other virtues. By its grace, may joyous victory be thine. More violent than Mara were the indocile, obstinate demon Alawaka. who battled with the Buddha throughout the whole night. Him did the Lord of Sages subdue by means of his patience and self-control. By his grace, may joyous victory be thine. Nalagiri, the mighty elephant, highly intoxicated, was raging like a forest fire, and was terrible as thunderbolt, sprinkling the waters of loving kindness. This ferocious beast did the Lord of Sages subdue. By its grace, may joyous victory be thine. With uplifted sword, for a distance of 3 leagues, did wicked Angulimala run. The Lord of Sages subdued him by his psychic powers. By his grace, may joyous victory be thine. Her belly bound with faggots, to simulate the bigness of pregnancy. Jinja, with harsh words, made foul accusations in the midst of an assemblage. Her did the Lord of Sages subdue by his serene and peaceful bearing. By his grace, may joyous victory be thine. Haughty Satyaka, who ignored truth, was like a banner in controversy, and his vision was blinded by his own disputation. Lighting the lamp of wisdom, him did the Lord of Sages subdue. By his grace, may joyous victory be thine. The wise and powerful serpent Nandopananda, the noble sage caused to be subdued by the psychic power of his disciple son, Thero Moggallana. By its grace, may joyous victory be thine. The pure, radiant, majestic Brahma, named Baka, whose hand was grievously bitten by the snake of tenacious heresies, the Lord of Sages cure with his medicine of wisdom. By his grace, may joyous victory be thine. The wise one, who daily recites and earnestly remembers these 8 verses of joyous victory of the Buddha, will get rid of various misfortunes and gain the bliss of Nirvana. Okay, then we are going to page 7. This transference of merit. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasanang. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu desanang. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahilika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu mang param. Devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hetu ca hito bhavatu loko ca raja bhavatu dhammiko. Idam minyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam minyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam minyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana patiya. Kayena vaca citena pamadena maya katang. Acaya kamami bhante puripanya tathagata. Kayena vaca citena pamadena maya katang. Acayang kamami dhamma sandidika akarika. Kayena vaca citena pamadena maya katang. อาจายังขมเมสังฆาสุปฏิปันนาอนุตตรสาธุสาธุสาธุช่วยเบา three times Okay, so Q&A segment. So today we didn't get to go to the waterfall. Yeah, so supposedly more self-practice time. Anyone wants to bring up any issues? Any obstacles? Any difficulties? So the retreat very smooth sailing so far. Huh? All went very well.
Hello，
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
班弟，请问一下，after 我们每次斩钉了哦，一定要忏悔还是什么？还是忏悔了就斩钉，还是什么？忏悔是什么意思？
那个忏悔就是我们诵经里面就有了这个忏悔咯，就是跟这个三宝求这个原谅了。
像我家里有一个佛珠呢，但我跟他点香，就是跟他忏悔吗？还是什么？
心里面要知道你在做什么了，就是我们身口意方面有意或无意就是跟这个三宝忏悔了。
每天念的嘛，每天都要念的啦。
对对。
我给的我每天念去做。
就是那个意思，就是我们要自己进步了，我们要知道我们做什么错误然后
要改
咯，对了。
Thank you。
这样。
还有。说八关斋戒的好处是什么？可以在家里做吗？
八关斋戒做么呢？
好处是什么？
好处这种戒律我们守越多戒律，就是来克服我们的贪嗔痴咯，所以是一种训练所以通常呢如果是初学者在家人我们开始是守5戒 ，5 precepts 5戒然后慢慢增加咯，然后守8戒等等如果5戒都守不好的话就不要讲到更多的戒律了比如说一个人去运动去比如说一个 gym 他们拿那个好像重的东西对吗？不可能一次过拿200公斤就拿训练嘛，会伤到自己慢慢训练可能5公斤然后8公斤10公斤这样子，慢慢来慢慢训练所以这个戒律是这样的，戒律是一种训练的这个training rules
一起要吃素吗？
素看你在什么地方，在泰国传统就不需要吃素了，好像这边就不需要吃素你们守8戒没有吃素OK 可是我要加一个很重要的东西就是不要小看这个5戒do not look down on the 5 precepts there's this particular teaching called this Salayaka Sutta, this Brahmins of Sala. The Buddha teach there's this 10 meritorious deeds, 10种功德the 10 things if you observe very well, very beneficial. So this 10 things. Avoid thoughts of greed, hatred, delusion. So 3 for the mind, 3 for the thought. So must think of good things. Your body is avoid killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. So another 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. Then the last 4 is a speech. Basically, you avoid telling lies, harsh speech, idle chatter, divisive speech. So basically, it's like slightly less than 5 precepts. But if you observe these 10 meritorious deeds, the Buddha said, if a person upon death, at the moment of death, if they make a wish, if I want to be reborn in a wealthy family, the Buddha said, it can be done. 可以做一个未来一个做一个有钱的在家人也可以。
会实现呢？
会实现，对。如果他许个愿我不要做人间我要做神仙也可以The Buddha said also can all the realms of the devas from the sensual deva or to the Brahma devas also can. And the Buddha at the last statement, if they observe these 10 meritorious deeds, at the moment of death, they want to make a wish. I want to experience this Arahant state here and now. Can be done. So even 5 preceptor can become Arahant. Yeah, so this is the Buddha's talking about the power of these 10 merits. So basically the 5 precepts. Yeah, if you
可是
observe
我
very
有时
well.
候我的孩子会当我妈妈还发脾气怎么办呢？
发脾气就是
我有骂我孩子
要训练
发脾气。
你要给指示，怎么样给指示can you say firmly without getting angry, without overreacting? Yeah, so it's training also. Yeah. Alright. Okay. Alright. I think she has one more. Yeah. Okay. The mic you pass. Yeah.
She talked about 八关斋戒.
Yeah.
And our 8 precept
Yeah.
for Theravada when we go on 8 precept. What is any difference between these two?
So the 八关斋戒, so because they add the 斋 in there, so probably usually the Mahayana practice, then they have the vegetarian kind of option. I mean the extra thing. Yeah.
So it's not any difference from the Theravada. It's just
Yeah.
because they add the word vegetarian there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
八
八关斋戒.
Same, the end of the 八关斋戒, how we get to attain. So for that night, we don't eat anything more. Also on my outside.
So end up some of the lay people stricter than the monastics. Yeah. Because when I went to Nepal trip, the Mahayana monks all take dinner. Or buy dinner.
Then one day how you also eat.
I see them eat.
But you don't eat.
I don't eat. Okay, alright. Any question?
当地什么叫做福报？
福报merit 啦 merit. Yeah, 福报
merit 是回向对吗？还是什么
merit 福报有福报跟功德两种东西所以福报就是可能比较算是像世间法的这种善业啦。对我来看福报是这个世间法的善业
要做很多好的东西，就有很多福报啦。
帮助你的世间的东西啦。如果你要长命啦、健康啦这是福报啦。如果你讲到功德，就是修行咯，功德咯你的心比较平静等等就是功德啦
那个禅修哪一种是最简单的？我可以做最简单的吗？
最简单的就是念佛咯， 念佛的这个法门啊，最简单的啊，不需要教到很假烂的，
因为我
不
每次
用不用浪费口水
因
啊
为我每次我听到睡着，这时我就没有变成这样。
啊，对了，
我还在想为什么我会这样。
对了，很多法门哦，很多法门啊，那你就选那个比较适合你的啦，对了。
Thank you, thank you.
Any, yeah, we pass to the front. The mic.
Hello. What's the difference between moderation and middle path?
Okay, moderation and middle path. These are two very interesting terms. Huh? So middle path has got to do with the spiritual progress. That means avoiding greed and hatred. Then we call this the middle path. Yeah? Moderation means like 50% of both. Moderation. That means the quantifiably the middle. Then we call moderation. So you cannot have moderation of greed and hatred. Yeah, in fact, the middle path is avoiding greed and hatred. Yeah, so for moderation, like we normally use like moderation in eating. Like we eat like just nice, no moderation. We don't take too excessive until you bloated and cannot walk and that kind of stuff. So moderation is something like quantifiable. You can measure. So that is for moderation, whereas middle path is avoiding greed and hatred. So a person can do something moderately, but may not be in line with the middle path. Their intention, there's no spiritual kind of intention. Yeah. Okay, anyone else? and vice versa, if a person has practicing a middle path, and if they are not, we call it street smart, they aren't aware with the cultures of the world, they may not behave moderately also. Yeah, so that could be another extreme case example. Okay.
Does Buddha or Dharma touch about like chakra and stuff like that?
Chakras. Okay, this one is subjective to interpretation. Okay, so the chakra is a Sanskrit word. So Chakra. The Pali word is chakra, Cakka. So the Buddha teach Dharma chakras. Dharma chakras, the Noble Eightfold Path. Dharma chakras. So 8 things, 8 kind of the wheels with 8 spokes. So that's the Dharma chakras. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, concentration. So this is the Buddha's version of the chakra, at least in the Theravada tradition. So in the Mahayana tradition, maybe they have some yoga involved, so they may have these chakras involved. So that's for Mahayana tradition. So for Theravada, I always refer to the suttas, because for chakras, they have, we call it healing properties, based on the chakra system. If you know how to place your so-called energy on certain vitality points, whatever, it can sometimes so-called cure certain problem, cure certain illness. So because if chakra meditation were dominant in the Buddha's time, then there should be mentions of chakra in the Vinaya, monastic rules, regarding to curing illnesses. So we have like a monastic book, monastic rules talking about curing illnesses. So like what kind of herbs or plants to eat, things like the things you give us in the afternoon, what the sugar, molasses and whatever. So these are part of the whole list of so-called edible items. We have treatment also. You mentioned about bloodletting, a bit like the Chinese poke the thing and release the blood, something like that. Drinking urine, a lot of funny stuff. Things maybe those days, maybe the Ayurveda or whatever, they consider as medicinal treatment. But never inside the Vinaya mention any chakra or energy healing, never. Yeah, so if it was prominent then it should be widely practiced in the Buddha's time. So actually, historically, the chakra system is only organized after the Buddha's time. After the Buddha's time. So maybe the Buddha's time or before, different people practice certain energy points differently. Many different systems. Everybody practice their own. Then afterwards, I do not know, maybe how many years later, maybe some people come together, form some kind of association, and try to structureize, try to structure this chakra system. So now the popular, the 7 chakras and whatever. No? So all these, they call the Patanjali Yoga. So it comes after the Buddha's time. So before that, there wasn't these chakras or healing and stuff. There wasn't, yeah. Shakti, so Shakti is more Hindu concept. Hindu concept. So normally Shakti is like the representation of like the snake, behind the person's back. Or Kundalini, Kundalini. So the union of this Shakti and something else will result in this Kundalini. That's the Hindu concept. So so when the Buddhist artwork, they have the Buddha with the snake behind the Buddha, right? Supposedly the story of this serpent king or this Naga trying to shelter the Buddha, from rain, from thunderstorm. Then some people interpret it as Kundalini or Shakti or whatever, right? So I guess it's subjective to interpretation. But at least in the Theravada point of view, it's not mentioned legally. At least technically not mentioned. Yeah. Okay. So these are different systems lah. Maybe in Hinduism they have this. So likewise in Hinduism, their classification of concentration also different. So like in Theravada tradition, we have this thing called the jhanas, the concentration, samadhi. So in Sanskrit, it's called dhyana, D-H-Y-A-N-A-S, dhyanas. So probably maybe in the Mahayana tradition also not really emphasized. So far I may not have encountered anybody who has practiced the so-called the equivalent of the jhanas. And for Hinduism, they have a different classification of their own dhyanas, their own samadhi. So theirs is not the same as the Buddhist version of the jhanas. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, at the back. Okay. Okay. Greed, hatred, delusion. Yeah, that also part of the 10 meritorious deeds. Greed, hatred, delusion. Very important. Must overcome. Okay, so delusion is actually it will be there as long as there's greed and hatred. So delusion is or the more earlier description of this delusion is can be found in the first teaching of the Buddha. So the Buddha talked about 3 kinds of craving. 3 kinds of craving, 3 kinds of tanha. So the first one is kama tanha. So that's greed. Anything sensual pleasure, anything nice or pleasant, you want some more. So that's called greed, kama tanha. Then the other one is vibhava tanha. Vibhava tanha means you want to destroy. Means we call it aversion. You want to get rid of. Then the last one is called bhava tanha. So bhava tanha means craving for eternalism. So we equate it as delusion. That means you want things to stay the same. So that is bhava tanha. So if let's say if we are in the sensual realm, the mind is in a sensual state, then we want to enjoy our financial status. I want it to stay like this forever, for example, or I want to be healthy forever, or I do not want to die. Something like that. So it's a kind of sensual desire, kind of delusion. Then if let's say a person enter concentration, regardless form or formless concentration, and they want that peace to stay there forever. So that is a kind of bhava tanha also. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Right. So this bhava tanha can be reduced or overcome with wisdom. Yeah? Delusion, the opposite is wisdom. So impermanence cover it. Yeah? The reflection of impermanence kind of cover this. Yeah. Any question? Any other questions? To the front.
So, but there is so many knowledges about in Buddhism, and also there are so many suttas, and also there are a lot of practices, even meditation practices and so on. If we want to study all that, it will take many years.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We may not be around by then.
Okay.
So the simple question is that what are the minimum practices and knowledges that we need to have, all right, to proceed to achieve a stream entry?
Okay.
Right?
Stream entry. Wow. Okay. This is a very common question. Somehow, especially the Theravada community now like to aim stream entry, because initially it's aimed for arahanthood. So now discount. So now aim for stream entry. But nevertheless, it's a very good wish, a noble wish, because it's either stream entry, which is maximum 7 lifetime, versus not seeing the Dhamma at all, then possible countless lifetime. So from countless future birth reduced to 7, it's a great turnover. So that is a very worthy kind of thing to look at. So for stream entry, normally the requirement is one needs to have unshakable faith in the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, unshakable faith, and the one's precept have to be very pure. Yeah, your 5 precepts lah. If let's say you're a lay person, need to be very pure. So that equivalent to the 10 meritorious deeds. Yeah, equivalent to the 10 meritorious deeds earlier. So it's around the same. Okay, and one way to know if a person is close or on the path to entering the stream, for me, I take the indicator of these, the 7 factors of this awakening. So I mentioned this before, right? The chain reactions. You need to apply this mindfulness, investigation of Dhamma, effort, and you trigger this joy and stuff like that. So this one is mentioned in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Yeah, this Venerable Sariputta say, the gateway to enlightenment is this one. These 7 factors of awakening. Yeah, this is an indicator that you are going against the stream, or you're entering the stream, something like that. So the stream here got 2 different contexts. So the theme which the retreat is using, against the stream refers to desire, going against desire. Whereas the stream, like stream entry, the question he asked, very interesting. This stream is... anybody knows the meaning of this stream? Yeah, I know Pali is Sotapanna, but why the Buddha used stream? Actually, it's also against the stream. The closest story I can think of is maybe that's not the suttas, but more like commentary story. So the story which I think of, or the most significant sort of movie which I recall of the Buddha's life story is the Little Buddha, who have watched the movie before by this Keanu Reeves. only a few people. So Keanu Reeves is the Buddha. So there's a sort of a scenario when he was he gave up the extreme practices. He gave up the austerities. So he makan from the bowl already. Then he put the bowl on the river, on the stream, on a flowing river, and he made a wish. Yeah, he said, if he's able to reach enlightenment, may this bowl go against the stream. And it did. Yeah, the bowl went against the stream. So this is a very common, I would say, probably a commentarial story of the Buddha's life story, and it is believed that this bowl traveled this long journey to the source of the stream, and eventually fell, and it hit a naga. There's a naga at the entrance waiting for the bowl. So when the bowl hit the naga, then the naga woke up and said, "Oh, okay, there's another Buddha coming." Right, so total, there were already 3 other bowls. That means 3 previous Buddhas had already done the same thing. Use the same river. So use the same situation. So again, that's a commentarial story. So basically, it symbolizes the person is on the path to awakening. So the naga is a bit like the factors of awakening, symbolizes these factors of awakening. Yeah? So you enter this stream of against this desire. Yeah? So that's stream winner. Yeah? So you win. Either you win or you lose. So if you lose means you follow, you get dragged along by the currents. So if you win means you go to the source of the stream. Yeah. Okay. Any one else? Okay.
Occasionally I do watch videos on YouTube which shares like wisdom, but it's not like directly from Dharma. If you heard of like Sadguru,
Okay.
Dandapani,
Okay.
Ekatole.
Okay.
So what do you think? I mean, are we, because it might create certain I don't know,
Yeah.
disalignment or something,
Okay.
but somehow it does make sense at times. So what's your point of view? Should we watch it? Should we listen to it? Or
If you watch it with the perspective of, let's say, like comparison or trying to gain extra understanding, to understand the context of, let's say, the different religious thing, you want to understand the Buddha's backdrop, what's the predominant belief in the Buddha's time. Some of the information could be quite interesting. I would say might be good to know. Yeah, good to know.
but quite consistently at times they will bring up about Buddha as well
Okay.
in part of the story. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so some of the accounts, like I happened to come across, Sadhguru talk about the Buddha and stuff like that. So some of the accounts may not be accurate from a Buddhist point of view. So he's trying to maybe say from a Hindu's point of view. Yeah. So may not be accurate from a Buddhist point of view. That's my opinion. Yeah.
For people without a deep knowledge of Dharma, isn't it? This is something that we should avoid, or
Yeah, if you do not know, if let's say a person want to pursue Buddhism, then it's good to avoid certain topics. Let's say he's not that the field of expert in, right? So I won't talk about, let's say, subjects on Hinduism because I'm not the expert in Hinduism, for example. So let's say when he start to talk about the Buddha or about Buddhism, there are things which are a bit off lah. Yeah. So that's not his area of expertise lah. Yeah. Any other question?
Why some schools of Buddhism, they only concentrate on practicing one sutta.
Concentrate in practicing one sutta. I think this is more so for, let's say, the Mahayana Buddhism.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Like maybe the Pure Land school, then they focus on the Pure Land basket. Actually, there's a whole collection for Pure Land teachings. or maybe the Lotus Sutra. There's the whole, probably a collection related to it also, and so on and so forth. So because Mahayana scriptures is so vast, so voluminous, much more volume than Theravada scriptures. So it is believed the Theravada scriptures, when it's put into writing, the volume of Theravada scripture, when it was initially put down in the writing, it can pile up to the height of 7 adult elephants. 7 adult elephants. Yeah. So imagine Theravada is only 7 adult elephants. So, based on Mahayana Buddhist classification, our Theravada suttas is just under this one small segment of their agamas. So in Mahayana Buddhism, they have the many subcategories in scripture. They have the Pure Land, the Prajna Paramita, all the wisdom teaching and whatever teaching. So there are many classifications. So one small classification is called agamas under their classification. Yeah? So all these 7 adult elephant, the height of 7 adult elephant is just one small category of Mahayana Buddhism. So they have so much more scripture. So imagine this journey to the west, this Tang Sang Chang, poor thing, to carry all this scripture. His back will break. Okay, so probably he might be using the royal caravan, a lot of horses and stuff like that. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so that's the Mahayana scripture. Because it's got so many, so it's I think it's normal to specialize in a set of teachings. This is much so during the Buddha's time. The first Buddhist council, after Venerable Ananda, he's the only monk that remember all the teaching, all the suttas. And at that time they haven't put down the writing. So they delegate, these monks, you remember this portion of the teaching. And this group of monks, you remember this portion. Something like that. So I think it's based on this system. Yeah. So the different schools in Mahayana Buddhism, they want to focus on a certain set of teachings by all means. Yeah.
So which means that we should be learning learning all the suttas as much as we can.
Yeah, that's up to individual. Yeah, they want to learn as how much they want to learn is up to individual. Yeah.
Not that we have to only, or like just now I mentioned, you only practice one sutta. Yeah.
Yeah, if a person practices correctly, nothing wrong. Yeah, but if let's say they practice and sometimes they want to check whether they practice wrongly or not, it's good to we say compare whether whether they're off tangent. Yeah.
But I think among all the suttas that I know of, Lotus Sutra itself has 28 chapters. Yeah. So, do you agree that they should take the highest in the Lotus Sutra to practice, or you should be reading the entire volume of Lotus Sutra?
Okay, I'm not a specialist in this one, so again depends on the teacher of that particular system.
Okay. Thank you, Bante.
Okay. So again, the technical usage for Mahayana scripture, we don't call them sutta. Yeah, the sutta is Pali term. Yeah, so we call them sutra. Yeah. Okay. All right.
This is my recent observations.
Okay.
In a lot of times, I do see paradox in things. As
Okay.
in, for example, the softest things, but on the other side, it could be the hardest thing. Right? Something like yin yang kind of things
Okay,
in
okay.
many aspects.
All right.
Does Dharma actually touches things like this? Yeah.
Like in terms of yin yang, not much. Maybe more for Taoism. Yeah.
Yin yang is
Yeah.
is an example that
Yeah,
I use.
correct, yeah.
But it's the paradox things that you see, like maybe what we see is something concrete, but in the other side of it is totally the other way around.
Okay. So probably the closest I can think of might have to do with perception. Perception. Everyone has different perception. So like probably maybe the Mahayana will take it one step further and talk about emptiness. Emptiness of the value. There's intrinsic value. There's no value to it, but then our perception color it. Yeah, our perception, our thoughts color it and make us perceive it in this way. But by itself, that object has no value. Yeah, based on our delusion and mental formations, yeah, you perceive certain things certain way. Yeah. Yeah. They want the mic.
Bante, after this retreat, I go back home. If I want to meditation for the walk, I go downstairs also can, my block.
You don't walk in a way that.
No, at the night, like 8 o'clock, not so much people.
Okay,
Like
yeah. If you wish, yeah, by all means.
that.
Yeah.
Because at home, no place to walk.
Yeah, not enough space. Yeah.
So I train downstairs walk, then
Yeah.
I sit downstairs, then
Okay.
meditation also can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Public areas for everyone to use. Yeah? Okay. You don't like do walking and sitting meditation in front of like public and yeah. Okay.
The Heart Sutta itself, it is not a sutra, right?
Heart Sutra is a
Yeah.
Mahayana sutra.
Yeah, but actually, what we learn last time was Heart Sutra isn't actually a sutra at all. Yeah, it's actually a letter that the Kuan Yin wrote to Sariputra.
It's Q&A. Yeah, it's more like an answer. Yeah, it's an answer
Answer
from
and question.
this Guan Zizai, Guan Zizai Pusa. And that's the opening statement, but the commentators, they call it Guan Yin. So anybody, my opinion is anybody that practices, let's say their insight is very strong and they become zizai, then they Guan Zizai lor. Doesn't have to be Guan Yin, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the meaning inside the Heart Sutra, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, because I read the English version before too.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Bante.
Alright. Okay. So you pass the mic around.
Our behavior affected by the way we meditate.
Our behavior can change according, depends on the meditation. Yes, our cultivation, that's what we call, Chinese called 修行, cultivation. So we cultivate, we are supposed to reduce or overcome unskillful qualities. Yeah, like our greed and hatred, we should reduce and overcome them. Yeah, so we should aim to change for the better. Yeah, so that's the idea of our cultivation. Yeah. So that's the ideal case. When we change, is a change to improve. Yeah. Okay, so someone at the front. Yeah.
In your opinion, what is the how do we end a meditation session? Let's say we're doing by our own. Because I mean, at times when I put timer, so at times your mind will go to like why it takes so long, why haven't end, why it takes so long. So it's a bit distracting.
Yeah.
Or another option would be usually when we feel pretty discomfort and then we will just end it.
Okay.
It looks like, I don't know, like premature kind of ending as well.
Okay.
So what is the better way of ending meditation session?
Everyone has a different way to end off the meditation. So for myself, I'll be using like a routine. So I need to do this certain step, this certain step. So every day I will do like certain step. It's just like any person who practice any skill, maybe any art or any skill, they need to do certain routine over and over again. Like maybe a musician, they play the same piece of music or certain set of music over and over again, or certain kind of exercise over and over again. The same thing. So there's like certain things to do. So in meditation, you are probably good to have like certain routine to train certain things. Because different meditation help in certain different aspect. Yeah, so you can pick and choose. You want to do all the complete set or certain set depending on your time, and then it's good to like complete this routine, and then you end off the meditation.
But are all meditations have steps? As in-
Formally they have steps, but if let's say the person is trained until like very skillful, they may not need to follow the steps. Yeah.
So for like layperson, beginner,
Okay.
when we can't even, let's say, complete the entire steps
Okay.
due to your stillness or concentration wasn't strong yet, right? So what's your suggestion in that case?
Okay, so you need to customize your own steps, customize your own routine. Yeah, that means you need to pick those that's relevant for you, and then you practice them. Then you sort of increase the length and so on. Yeah? Okay, all right. Anyone else from the back?
Yesterday you mentioned one of the days in the meditation, when we when we are unable to concentrate, we can actually record any stanza from the suttas, right, that we learn. Then we can chant
if we are
that.
feeling sleepy, yeah.
So any of the verses that we can remember,
Yeah.
we will just chant from there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Thank you, Bante.
Okay. So if let's say you're doing in a group, you chant mentally, yeah. You don't recite out loud, and you'll be surprising people. Okay. Anyone else? Any question? Okay. If there's no more question, let's see what time is it now. Okay, we have like a 5-minute break. Yeah, 5-minute break until 8 o'clock, and then we'll see what kind of sharing we're going to share.
What I've only done is what you have taught on the first day.
Oh, okay.
The first,
All right.
which is not the usual meditation method which I use. What kind of benefit will that do? Actually, what kind of benefit? What kind of, if you continue with that meditation?
Yeah.
What are the benefits that you do?
Yeah. So he's asking about the sublime states, the meditation. What kind of benefits one will get? So this is a very good question for today's topic. So these sublime states or loving kindness have 11 benefits. Mentioned that 11 benefits to loving kindness. Yeah, so you can find this in this Metta Nisangsa Sutta. Metta Nisangsa Sutta. So there are 11 benefits of loving kindness. So the Buddha started off with Mettaya Bhikkhave Ceto Vimuttiya. Yeah, that means the practice of loving kindness can lead to this Ceto Vimutti. Ceto Vimutti means liberation by mind or liberation by awareness. Yeah, so this practice of these sublime states can lead to this liberation. In fact, all meditation objects taught by the Buddha will lead to liberation. because the Buddha is the compassionate person. He don't teach you something just to chase ghosts away and that's all. Yeah, so that's not the Buddha's intention. So his teaching is to help you reach liberation, regardless of what meditation object. Some can be very ridiculous. For example, like this particular story of a monk who is unable to do these impurities of the body in meditation. So according to the story, his past life was dealing with jewelry, for past 500 lifetime. So he has no attachment to the foulness of the body, but he has attachment to shiny things, attachment to jewelry. Because his occupation for the past 500 lifetime is being a jeweler, a handle jewelry. So he only have attachment to shiny things. So the Buddha have to create a golden flower for him. Golden flower. So instead the golden flower can enter concentration. Yeah, so this is special case for him. So any meditation object taught by the Buddha can lead to this enlightenment. So that's why we always say there's 84,000 Dhamma doors. Whatever topic the Buddha mentioned, we'll have to make use of the 5 aggregates. We need to use the 5 aggregates to perceive the topic. So that's why there are 84,000 Dhamma doors. Basically any topic the Buddha can conjure up, so that one can help you. So that's the idea. Okay, so like for loving kindness, it has 11 benefits. So the first three has to do with sleeping. One will sleep happily. One will wake happily. No more nightmares, no evil dreams. So these are the first three benefits of for sleeping. Who have sleeping problem? You must do more metta. Yeah, you never do enough metta. Yeah, do more metta. So this is the first three thing. So like in the classes I mentioned, so after I say do more metta, then later you all keep wishing, may all beings be happy, may all beings be happy. If you keep doing, then end up you cannot sleep. There's too much energy. Yeah, the mind, so recharged, so awake, then cannot sleep. Then you blame me. So if you want to sleep, before you sleep, do nothing. But the rest of the day, keep on generating loving kindness. Yeah, to create this wholesome momentum, wholesome karma. Yeah, okay. So the sleep is more or less the same as the kind of habitual thoughts that we generate if we do nothing now. If let's say we sort of like daydream now or do nothing, the thoughts we have is more or less the same thing we have in our dream. Yeah, so depending on what kind of karma, the momentum we do throughout the day, it will affect what kind of thoughts, direction of thoughts we'll be having. Yeah, if let's say we just relax and do nothing and do not focus on any topic, the mind will generate certain thoughts, right? Certain images or certain thoughts. So the dream is more or less something like that. Yeah, something like that. So your overall karma throughout the day will affect your dream. Yeah, so if you practice loving kindness throughout the whole day, so the sleep will be nice. Yeah, wake happily, sleep happily also. Okay, so this is the first 3 benefits. Then the next one, the next 3 has to do with likability. Likability. One will be dear to humans. That means people will like you. One will be dear to non-humans. Non-human beings will like you. Okay, mosquitoes will like you regardless of metta. Okay, then the third one, devas will protect you. Devas will protect you. I mean, heavenly beings will protect you. Yeah. So I think very natural. If let's say you smile versus pull a long face, I give an example. Like let's say you are lost. Let's say you drive someplace, you're lost. No GPS, no nothing, and you want to ask for directions. So there are 2 strangers along the way, on your road. Then you want to ask for directions. So first stranger, pull a long face. Second stranger, at least at least they put on a smile or neutral or smiling face. Who would you ask for directions? The one with smiling face, right? At least more approachable. Yeah. So if a person have loving kindness, at least, although we say we do not judge a book by a cover, that's what we do. We judge a book by a cover. At least if we appear pleasant or appear joyful, then at least we are more approachable. So dear to human beings. So that's the first one. Then second one, dear to non-human beings. Yeah, so maybe to some extent animals, but mainly to unseen beings. Unseen beings, because they are more receptive to mental energy. More receptive to mental energy. So if a person is full of negative energy, always angry or always upset, depressed, if it's unwholesome, you're attracting negative spirits. Attracting negative spirits. Yeah, no devas will come to unwholesome being, like our example yesterday. So the yesterday's example we talked about, the devas actually don't want to come to human realm, especially the higher devas, excluding the earthbound devas because they're already here. Yeah? So the higher devas will find the human realm like very smelly. So unless you are worthy, if you're meritorious, then they find it still quite worthwhile to come down and do something. It might benefit them. So they are a bit practical. Yeah. So these devas are like that. So non-human beings. So for example, so you don't need to worry about ghosts. Yeah. So we say spirits, devas, earthbound devas or skybound devas. Not all of them look nice actually. If you look at Buddhist art, these devas have different races, different species. Some of them look like animals, some of them look like something else. So it's a bit like if you watch, let's say, Star Wars, they go into the bar, a lot of different species, some with many heads, many eyes and stuff like that. So the devas are something like that. Yeah, there are many races, many species. So not all of them are sort of human looking. Human looking. So and also not all of them are bad. Not all of them are good. There's a mixture, right? So that's why we have the third one, guardian devas. Devas will protect you. If you are meritorious, you have loving kindness, you're wholesome, then the guardian devas will protect you. Because there are devas with, or spirits, or we call them spirits, with unwholesome intention. Unwholesome intention. We think all heavenly beings are good and we pray to them. Some of them want bad things out of us. So you can find this in this Atanatya Sutta. Atanatya Sutta. So this is the sutta where the four heavenly kings went to see the Buddha. Not the Mendo Pop four heavenly kings. Not the Andy Lau and those people. So the four heavenly kings went to see the Buddha because they know some of their subjects, some of the Yakas, the Nagas. So the four heavenly kings rule over four races. The Yakas, Nagas, Gandhabas, and there's one more, I think, Kumbandana, something like that. So they are the four races, four different species of mythical beings, because we cannot see them, so we call them mythical beings. Four different races. So the four in charge, we call the four heavenly kings. They found out that not all of them like religious teaching. Some of them like to do what they want. They like to kill, like to steal. And some of them, probably due to their physiological makeup, they need to feast upon human flesh, feast upon human blood, or feast upon human life force. So sometimes they will harass human beings. They will possess or harass human beings. So this is some of their nature. So these four heavenly beings made a deal with the Buddha, something like a contract. So they told the Buddha, said, because these four heavenly beings sort of have faith in the Buddha and the past Buddhas. So they mention they will offer protection service. Protection service. So if any of these subjects kacau your followers, either they possess them, harass them, or whatever not, you can chant this certain verse. It's like a declaration. No? You have the terms and conditions for the contract. Basically, recite the contract. So the contract is these four heavenly kings have faith in the past, whatever 7 Buddhas, right? And you recite this contract. Then these 4 heavenly kings will come down and arrest, apprehend the troublemaker, apprehend that unseen being that harass you. And if they are not available, they will call their next down the line. So there are many departments. Yeah. So if the next down the line, the general is not available, then they call the lieutenant not available. So there's a chain of command. Yeah, depending on how big shot you are. So if you're like, that's why you must practice. So the more merit you have, then no, they want to come and help you. Yeah, so this is the according to that teaching. So it is possible that heavenly beings want to harm us also. So because if we are wholesome, guardian devas will want to protect us. Guardian devas will protect us. So if you happen to face any disturbances, normally a rule of thumb is wish them loving kindness. Wish whatever beings, wish them loving kindness, ask for forgiveness, dedicate marriage to them. And if you do all this and they still kacau you, then you call the spiritual police, which is the 4 heavenly kings. So you tell that being, okay, I will just think of the 4 heavenly kings. Yeah. But actually, the more standard way is think of the triple gems. Think of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And if that still doesn't work, they still have issues, okay, then you call the spiritual police. Think of the 4 heavenly kings. And then, they supposedly will come down. So that's why sometimes we say the monks will receive invitation or request. Some family member will come to the temple and say, I suspect my family member kena possess or kena black magic. They suspect only. Then we go there, then we chant, nothing happens, still the same. We chant really, still the same. Then we ask them, have you seen doctor? What kind of issues you have? Sometimes it could be emotional problem, nothing to do with this possession of black magic. So they need to seek the relevant help. And so that's the problem. So far, personally, the closest one I've encountered is ex-medium, ex-Taoist medium. He do the Tangki one. Then he want to stop. But the spirits don't want to let him go. Yeah, so he's still a student. So when he study halfway, then in class, then suddenly he can jump and shout and whatever not. So he's creating a lot of nuisance to the class. So he's facing this expellation from the school and facing this issue. So he come to the temple for help. Then I was asking him, you go to the Taoist, whatever Tangki they train you why you come to me for? Yeah, but he say because he convert to Buddhist already, so he say he want to get the Buddhist help. So I told him about, okay, you want to get help, then you need to sort of mentally tell those sort of spirits that always come into your body to ask them not to do so. So make an exchange, make a deal, make a negotiation. Say I'll do a lot of merit, do a lot of good, I'll dedicate to you something like that. So after the whatever thing, the so-called spirit will possess him in the temple. He still jump around. He offer the incense. The spirit know how to offer incense to the urn and pay respect to the Buddha. And then the next spirit come again. So got multiple spirit one by one. Then they do the thing. Then I was observing. Okay, you do. Okay. Then afterwards, Then they finish. Then he like very weak. Then he said, okay. Then he left. Yeah. So hopefully, because there's no follow up, so I don't know what's the situation now. So hopefully the episode end. So yeah, that's for the spirits thing. Okay. So devas will protect you. So by right, if a person have mindfulness, these things shouldn't enter the body. So that's why it's important to meditate, or meditate correctly. Meditate things that will increase your merit, increase your samadhi, increase your mindfulness. Yeah, so you create this kind of like a force field. So the Buddha mentioned those unseen beings with malevolent intent. If they were to approach a person with loving kindness, it's like approaching a person like trying to walk through a spear. Yeah. So this loving kindness acts like a force field. Yeah? So you have like a spear to protect you. Huh? So that's the benefit. Okay. Then the next one down. Okay, a few more. Then another benefit is one will have a beautiful. One will be serene and beautiful looking. Yeah, at least one will have inner beauty with this loving kindness. Huh? So with this loving kindness, you don't need to spend too much time on beauty products. Yeah, you save a lot of money. So that's why we observe 8 precepts. Huh? Because you're cultivating this inner beauty. Huh? Very important. Okay, so that's the 7th benefit. The 8th benefit is one will enter concentration easily. One will enter concentration easily. Yeah, so as if you practice this loving kindness, because it's part of the Noble Eightfold Path, part of these thoughts of non-anger. So once you have loving kindness, you have overcome we have mainly greed and hatred. So you kind of solve close to 50% of the problem, 50% of the craving. So very essential to calm down the mind, make the mind at ease. So that's the benefit. Then the ninth benefit is, so this one again subject to interpretation. So yesterday somebody talked about protection, the gathas and the chants that lead to protection. So the benefit of loving kindness is poison, weapons and fire will not harm you. So that's the literal translation of the benefit of loving kindness. So later on, please do not try to drink poison or try to burn yourself or try to get into trouble. So do not do that. Do not try this. So I always say, you always take case studies from the best. That means from enlightened individuals. For example, like the Buddha. Anybody know how the Buddha passed away? What's the cause of him passing away? Yeah, food poisoning. Yeah, so the Buddha himself got food poisoning. So how can one practice loving kindness free from poison? And there's another story of Buddha getting injured. Have you heard of Buddha getting injured? This Devadatta pushed a giant boulder trying to kill the Buddha. And one of the rocks split and cut the Buddha's foot, right? So the Buddha also can get injured. So how can a person practice metta be free from this weapon? Yeah. So nowadays, especially the Thai Buddhism or Siamese Buddhism, they have these amulets. They tell you if you wear this certain amulet, will protect you. Wear Buddha amulet will protect you. And Buddha himself also can get injured. What makes you think the amulet can protect you? So that is the issue now. Okay, so anyway, so you need to interpret this statement correctly. So what it means that this fire, poison, weapon will not affect the mind. So one physically will still go through birth, aging, sickness, death. But mentally, one is not shaken. not shaken by these events. So not shaken by vicissitudes of life. Poison, injury, accident, whatever it is. The mind will be serene, will be calm. So that is the benefit of loving kindness. So this one requires skill, to be calm in the face of these kind of dangers. It's not overnight. I practice metta for one day and I expect myself to be mentally immune from all this. No, requires some kung fu. So that's the issue. So same with the previous benefit we talked about. Non-humans will be dear to you. Please do not try to go near and approach dangerous wild animals. They say, I have loving kindness. Should be no problem with the animals. In fact, it's the contrary. One should stay away from dangerous wild animals. This is the teaching of the Buddha, Sabba Sava Sutta, the ending of all defilements. So the Buddha mentioned, stay away from dangerous areas. Cliffs, high cliffs and stuff like that. So we go to the waterfall, also need to be careful. It's not like I got loving kindness and I just walk to dangerous areas. No, it doesn't work like that. Stay away from dangerous zones, dangerous areas, high cliffs and stuff like that. There are a lot of places the Buddha mentioned, stay away. Stay away from places with dangerous wild animals. So that is the reason also. Okay. Then the 10th benefit, 10th and 11th benefits got to do with death. So if a person has loving kindness upon death, one will have a peaceful death. So a lot of time people will, if let's say without cultivation, will struggle. Or if let's say they are still not fulfilled, haven't fulfilled anything meaningful in life, they have a lot of regrets, a lot of issues, a lot of fear. So with loving kindness, the mind will be calm. There's a lot of assurance, internal assurance. So that's loving kindness. And the last benefit is that if a person is not enlightened through loving kindness, one will be reborn in the Brahma worlds. Brahma worlds. So that's the 11 benefits of loving kindness. So like we covered this Karaniya Metta Sutta, I think yesterday or the day before, we talked about this, the end goal of loving kindness is again to reach liberation. That's the Buddha's point of view. He teach whatever is to reach liberation. Okay, so that's the end. So nowadays there's some popular misconception. People will say, practice metta cannot reach enlightenment one. They'll tell this kind of thing. So sometimes I even hear it among the Thai practitioners, even some monastics. And the monastics better still. When they chant the Metta, Karaniya Metta Sutta, they chant the short form. They only chant the last verse. So the last verse contains this last sentence: one will not be reborn in the womb again. So they chant this, but they don't believe this. So that's the problem. You chant one thing without understanding. So that's the issue now. So if a person were to go back to the original teachings, then one will clear this misconception. Yeah.
Instead of reborning in the Brahma world, they cannot reborn in pure abode.
Pure abode is only reserved for the non-returners. So if a person haven't reached this non-returner, let's say they below that, then they cannot go to the pure abode. Liberation means enlightenment. Another term for enlightenment. It's not like the U.S. Army conquer some place and they liberate the place. Not like that.
So in our country, the plot abode is not so easy to go.
Not easy to go. That's right. The mic.
Hello 啊
Yep
我讲华语啊。
可以
是有冤亲债主这个东西，债主是我们的身上有没有前世？前世。
是有可能性，有可能性啊，就是说，好像刚才我讲的那些spirits 啊，那些 spirits 啦，或者有些 deva 他们有不同的这个他要吃东西啦，要吃东西啦，所以有些是吃人的这个力量咯，我们人的这个寿命啦
所以
等等
我们一直要回向功德给他们啊。
就是先回向功德咯
他们收到，他们就会上去还是什么？
就是希望他们投胎去更好的地方了，不需要去吃我们这些东西咯OK。Anyone else? Any
在南传有没有在拜祖先的？
拜祖先，我们是回向功德给我们的这些亲戚啦。
没有清明的哦，像我去巴厘岛没有看到清明节这样，我去南传就有清明节。
南传没有啦，清明节。
北传。
因为清明节是华人东西嘛，华人民间宗教的东西华人的传统OK， 还有什么？
中元节也是没有哦。
中元节是道教的。
道OK。因为我去那个光明山就有中元节。
那他们是盂兰节。
盂兰节，对。
佛教的是盂兰节所以在中国呢，就是民间宗教，他们就相信7月是鬼节鬼节就是7月那些地狱的众生可以去 holiday 了去走走holiday 然后呢道教开始发展的时候他们就有这个中元节咯中元节了，他们中元节不是7月的鬼节，不一样了，不一样的东西
他们是标东西的，他们插歌台的，对吗？
那个是比较不是中元节的重点的中元 festival 他们的我了解的
那是超度对吗？
他们是超度对，他们是请那个 Earth Deity Official 就是来帮忙超度那些魂鬼了这样子了然后佛教开始来中国的时候就有这个盂兰节了跟那个中元节一样的就是不同的宗教有不同的名字了，可是同样的时间来庆祝这样子了所以北传的盂兰节就是相信这个穆建连他的母亲下这个恶鬼道恶鬼道，连他的功德不够帮不住他的母亲了，就是北传的看法阿罗汉的功德帮不到母亲，可是这个地藏王菩萨的功德可以了那个地藏王他讲到小女孩说他是发愿愿那些地狱的众生他的母亲在那边愿他没有苦还有很多慈悲可以超度那边的地狱的众生可是阿罗汉不可以阿罗汉下去帮他的母亲不可以是北川的经典，然后是盂兰节的经典盂兰经所以他去找这个佛陀问他怎么样帮他的母亲怎么样帮他的母亲，所以佛陀说要供养给僧团供养给僧团，等他们的这个retreat 啦3个月的 retreat 过后所以他们改那个日期咯，因为中国的那个season不一样嘛，跟印度的season不一样，所以他们是用夏天的雨季夏天的这个 retreat 过后就回向就是供养给这个众生四方的这个众生，所以只有北川的师父可以供养给师父了所以南川没有听说过长老供养给其他的僧团，所以这是我第一次听到，所以 这个目犍连呢就跟着佛陀的指示了，就是供养给这个僧团，然后回向这个功德给他的这个母亲咯，所以帮到这个母亲了。所以我看到了真正的经典呢，就是还没有真正跟他的母亲超度，还要做一些仪式了，等等这样子，这是北川的这个盂兰经了。OK， 可是重点呢，就是这个三个宗教就是强调的就是这个filial piety， 这个孝顺gratitude 跟这个孝顺
好像他们讲的祖先保佑这样。
OK， 所以祖先怎么样保佑呢？就是如果他们投胎去更好的地方就会保佑你；如果他在这个恶轨道，就帮不到你了他需要你的帮忙这样子
好像我梦见我的家婆她已经过世到半6个月过后，我梦到她穿得很漂亮，是代表她是什么？就在上面是什么？
你讲多一次。
我的家婆她过世嘛，去年。我梦到她穿得很漂亮，然后讲买东西给我，然后
OK 了，
就是在上面吗？还是什么？
可能可能这样子。OK， 还有 Yes question at the front。
one thing. When we studied about this Dharma and then like listening to your Dharma stories and stuff like this, right? Because at times you may have doubts, like how far it's true.
Okay.
Right. I mean, you can have faith, but on the other side of faith, it may be a blinded faith as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you have this kind of situation, how do you think to overcome it? Because this is not something that we can try and then we can see the effect.
Okay.
Example, meditation or that. I think that makes a lot of sense because we could experience it.
Yeah, correct.
But however, like things like you mentioned just now, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you may have that question mark. How far is true?
Yeah.
How do you unlock this?
Yeah, very good question, right? So, like when we do the puja in the morning and evening, we chant these 6 qualities of the Dhamma. So one of the, the 6 qualities, some of them are like inviting one to investigate. That means this teaching is not the actual Dhamma that leads to peace is not meant for blind faith. It's not meant to be blind faith. Invite you to investigate. So you need to investigate to find out truth. And this Dhamma that leads to inner peace can be seen here and now without delay. That means you don't need to believe in whether there's afterlife or not. Then you need to wait until the moment of death or wait until your next life to know. So there are other kinds of truth got to do with supernatural or the metaphysical realm aspect, but it's not essential for inner peace. Not essential for inner peace. So the Dhamma is here and now. It is timeless. It's also timeless. That means regardless of past, present or future, people will still have greed, hatred and delusion. So this is applicable in all ages. Some people say in the past, people are more fortunate, can learn the Dhamma. Not true. So regardless of past, present or future, people will still have greed, hatred, delusion. So there will be a need to want to overcome this suffering. So the Dhamma there's a demand for it. So that's the relevance of the Dhamma teaching.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when you can actually feel the calmness, the peacefulness and all that. But what I mean was like
the
example,
metaphysical.
Exactly. And all that. Should you, in that...
Yeah, so if you don't want to believe, it's fine, don't believe.
It's not don't to believe. I mean, as in, because you don't see it, you don't experience it.
Correct.
So, how do we embrace it without having that?
So there are many ways to do it. You can don't believe it. You can KIV. You can just say, okay, maybe science haven't proven it yet, for example. The scientific advancement not good enough to detect these beings yet, for example. So nowadays, I think can be quite close already. Nowadays, we have this documentary show I've been watching. Have you watched Ancient Aliens on History Channel? No, okay, never mind. Yeah, so nowadays there's a lot of video footage of orbs. It's not like your camera take those stuff, no. Real life video footage of this shiny stuff. Not this one. Shiny stuff chasing after aeroplanes. Yeah, yeah. Part of the okay, never mind. So never mind. Yeah, they want marriage also, Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about these unseen beings. So normally we always talk about, like we read the opening sutta of the Mangala Sutta. These devas are these bright beings. They brighten up certain thing, and then they appear to the Buddha, right? So nowadays, the video footage of these orbs, they have very bright features, and they can appear, disappear, and they can move very fast and stuff like that. So it's video footage of evidence. It's not the solid metal flying disc. So that one usually is a man-made disc. Man-made disc. We're talking about energy balls, energy orbs flying around, video footage. So these are probably interdimensional beings. Interdimensional beings. So these are like the devas. So there's already video footage, and you can find this in this Ancient Aliens History Channel. So they have a lot of this. Yeah. 好像一种球啦，一种球来的，飞来飞去很快的，不是飞碟，那些铁造的是通常是人类做的，那些真的那种突然会不见到消失掉UFO 是 unidentified flying object 啦，所以那些 energy ball 也是算是 UFO 啦，这样子的哦。
We should investigate the Dharma.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Yeah.
Investigate. So whatever you can observe here and now. So like what we're talking about, the 4 elements, the 5 aggregates. So these are subjects which you can investigate. Yeah, things related to your 6 senses. How does greed arise? How does hatred arise? How does clinging arise? How does suffering arise? Yeah? So you need to know the process. What's the sequence that lead to suffering? And what kind of thoughts that lead to overcoming this suffering? Yeah? So these are very existential problem kind of thing. Yeah?
Oh, sorry. So how do we get into concentration faster?
Okay, how to get concentration faster? Do more loving kindness. That's the benefit of loving kindness, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you were speaking about investigation,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, of course we can, I mean, we have the ability to do when you investigate the senses, the
Yeah.
perception and stuff like that, because you go feel it. But how do you investigate, like, how many realms there?
Okay.
Yeah, things like that.
So this kind of knowledges, we call this mundane higher knowledges, not essential for liberation. So I think we mentioned this before. In Buddhism, there are 6 kinds of higher knowledges. We call these abhinyas. Yeah? So the first kind of higher knowledge is this recollecting past lives. Recollecting past lives. Yeah? So a person can recollect many past lives, and the Buddha can still call it wrong view. You can find this in the Brahmajala Sutta, the first of the Digha Nikaya. So a meditator can believe in many rebirths, many rebirths, many lifetime, but the Buddha still can call it wrong view if they still have craving. If they still have craving. So a person can see past life and still get kepo. My past life, where I keep my treasure in my past life? What's the password to the safe the lock? How to get my treasure? Yeah, so a person can see past life, but doesn't mean they're free from craving. Yeah, so that is the issue. So, like we mentioned, I think I'm not sure whether you're here. Nowadays, there's past life regression therapy. People can pay hypnotist and hypnotize you, and you can see your past life, and it's somehow they claim it's authentic. I mean, medically, those people in the field, they claim it as credible. Yeah, so I do not know. So people don't need to meditate for long hours. They just sit on the sofa, don't need to sit like this, don't need to sit cross-legged. Sit on the sofa, lie down, and the hypnotist will hypnotize you, and then you just think of the past. Wow, then you can think a lot of account, come up with a lot of content which you never think of before. Then the hypnotist will record to prove it's true. The hypnotist will not want to get sued also. So you record the session. He or she will record the session. So they also record down. Then you see yourself, wow, your past life or the story is so amazing.
Yeah, I attended that sharing before.
Yeah, you have. Okay.
Yeah, BGF.
Okay.
In fact, the professor is a medically
Accepted.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, that the speaker is actually from Singapore as well.
Oh, okay.
It's
All right.
kind of well known.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the interesting things I've been searching of those veteran past life regression therapies. They have like thousands of cases. So they have many records until they even from like they start off like being an atheist or a non-believer. After doing all these sessions, they start to believe, there's a past life. There's a past life really. They believe really. So and they believe there's a future life. So some of the accounts talk about their clients. They recall being angels before or being aliens before, from previous life. So the aliens might be Deva. So these aliens aspire come to the human realm to help the human realm. So they want to choose to be reborn as a human and stuff like that. So there are many of these accounts. So these are getting more mainstream. So you can search on YouTube. Past life regression therapy accounts, then you can hear a lot of stories if you want to entertain yourself. So for extra info. So in the past, in the ancient days, they have to use mythology, lore. So the LORE, lore of the mythology of the deities, so that people have faith, in a certain thing. So nowadays, times may have changed. I tell you, gods of the 33 kings. You have idea who are they? You have no idea, right? So we do not have the law anymore. We don't have the story of these deities anymore. So times have changed. The culture have changed. So now we have to seek more like evidence-based. You want to investigate and stuff like that. So again, if you have evidence, good. If you don't have evidence, never mind, not important. So this one, recollecting past life. First, higher knowledge. Second, higher knowledge is divine eye. So if a person, you want to ask the question, 天生到底是不是真的那个人要修这个天眼通So if a person were to cultivate divine eye, then they can see things. 如果你修天眼通的话可是通常我不鼓励啦，我没有鼓励人家修这个天眼通可是有些老师会教啦有些老师会教So some people can see devas and ghosts and stuff like that. So this is a higher knowledge to see the different realm. Then the third one, divine ear. Some people can hear heavenly music or hear divine beings talking and stuff like that. So these are divine ear. Then the next one, mind reading. So you can know what other people are thinking and stuff like that. And the fifth one, able to fly, walk through the walls and stuff like that. So all these are considered worldly higher knowledges. That means they can be achieved without being spiritual, without wanting to be a good person. That means a person can be born a demon. The demon have all these also. A demon can have all these. Or they born a deva, they don't need to meditate. Or some documentary of kids, they born can recollect the past life. I'm not sure you've seen some of them. They can recollect the past life. So these are non-meditators. And so for meditators, we talk about accounts. we talk about the Cold War. Yeah, so the spies at that time, they have this those psychic spies have this special program called remote viewing, so they can view enemy targets and bomb them without physically being there. So used for mundane purposes. So I think after the program ended, some of them, if they do not want to do military things, they help the police lah, lost and found case, missing person case. So the police, they last resort, then they look for this kind of these psychics and medium, people with this vision to trace for missing person, people who are kidnapped and stuff like that. So they will resort to last resort, police. So it's a bit hard to write on the report. They look for medium or psychics to look for missing person. I think they get fired. So this is the last resort. So if they really cannot find all evidence, no evidence really, then they will look for this kind of people. So there are such documented cases also. Yeah, so at least this is more towards the wholesome side, used for good use. So this is considered money. So the last one, the last higher knowledge, the sixth one is to eradicate defilement. So that's meant for enlightened being. Yeah. So your question regarding whether to believe other realms or not, yeah, don't believe them. Not important. Not important. We call this worldly higher knowledges. Worldly higher knowledge. So we just KIV. So if it's there, if science hasn't really proven it, then it's okay. Never mind. Met anyone with such ability? Yeah. So I met 2 cases. I mentioned about the 2 monks disrobing, ex-monks. No, that I make a pun. I normally say X-Men, right? So there's ex-monks. They want to have this ability, right? So the first monk, ex-monk I came across was a senior monk. He claimed to be able to sit for 14 hours straight without moving, without getting up from the seat. So in the seat, he do his VR, virtual reality. You can see the devas, interacting with the devas. So 14 hours he do the VR thing, spiritual VR or supernatural VR. So but then he cannot differentiate between the reality versus this one, the things he see. So he get a lot of problem, get a lot of trouble. Then end up this road. Then the next one is this a junior monk, junior ex-monk. So he, because of certain senior monk who always like to talk about devas and ghosts, so he also aspired to want to see devas and ghosts. So he meditate to see the light and whatever not. Then after seeing certain spirits, then he disrobed. Then now he become a Taoist priest. Because Taoist priests can catch ghosts. Buddhist monks cannot catch ghosts. Part of right livelihood. Yeah. So now he changed occupation. So that's the for him. So in Singapore, there's an interesting case. I'm not sure whether you read before, of a Taoist medium, a boy medium, able to sort of communicate with these beings, and eventually led a certain group of people to commit suicide. Have you came across this article before? So there was this case a number of years ago. Yeah, this boy claimed to communicate with certain spirits, and these spirits asked him to cultivate, meditate more. So somehow this guy has a following. This young chap, also young people, group of young people. Then they also follow him, meditate many hours. Then when the time is right, this medium say that, okay, the deva say after you meditate, then you commit suicide, like jump down from the window from the tall building, then you'll be reborn in that heavenly realm. Yeah, so some of them really follow, go and jump, commit suicide. Then of course some of them don't have follow, so that's why you have the newspaper report out, they tell the story. So that's the danger. That's the danger. So developing this ability is one thing. Having the wisdom to face it, or having the ability to face it, is another thing. Yeah. So not easy. So the best is don't see, no problem. Okay. Any?
Those cyclists,
Yeah.
their ability is natural inborn one, right?
Yeah, a lot of them is due to genetics.
Ah.
Yeah, due to lineage, the family tree, probably their ancient ancestors were shamans before and stuff like that. Yeah.
Not that because they have attained certain ability through training, then they become cyclists. Not only
Some
that.
of them may need some training to hone certain skills. Yeah, but a lot of them got to do with genetics. So same with the spirits and the demons, they are born with it. So it's got to do with the physiology. Yeah.
So how do you actually know that this person has psychic powers?
How to know if a person has? This one, normally nobody will reveal to you. Even if they reveal, you just take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
Of course, it will not tell you. Yeah. But
So,
sometimes,
so there's this American program which I watched. This American guy, his name is called James Randi, Randi. So he started this James Randi Foundation. So this James Randi is actually a magician, a veteran magician. So he's very good in detecting trickery. So he came up with a challenge. He will give $1 million to anybody who prove their claim of any supernatural feat. He will give $1 million. So up to date, nobody claimed the $1 million. So for many years. So those people who made the claim, yeah, they came out on his show. So in a controlled setting, he will debunk them. Yeah. So if he's unable to disprove their supernatural ability, then they'll get the $1 million. So one of the case I saw is this guy claimed that he has telekinesis, able to bend metal spoon or able to make a book move through a distance, able to make the pages open and turn from a distance. So he's able to just do this and then the pages turn. Yeah. So this James Randi, being a magician, he observed how he do for a while. Okay, then he set a control experiment. So he put some powder. So somehow this guy decided to do and cannot move anymore. The pages cannot move anymore. So the magician figured out he used his nose able to move the pages, or able to blow from the mouth in a very hidden or small way to able to move the pages. Something like that. So magician able to detect this kind of trickery. So a lot of cases. So some maybe the Filipino, those psychic surgeons, I'm not sure whether you've seen before, able to claim to use the hand to put inside the body and pull out certain dirty things, the blood, certain organs or whatever it is, can pull out cancer, pull out tumor, then very bloody, and they claim to able to use it just with the bare hand. Then afterwards they'll just touch, then the wound, no wound, no surgery needed, no wound, no need to stitch and nothing, the body is fine. So the magician demonstrate using sleight of hand, using a packet of chicken blood, and then you hide the chicken blood and how you break open and how you get all the chicken fillings inside, how you pull out. So he demonstrated. So that's using sleight of hand. So he's able to disprove the things that the cases are here. Yeah, something like that. So again, there are trickery version. There might be real version, real cases. So for the real cases, nobody will reveal also. Yeah, something like that. So again, I remain a skeptic, very open-minded person. Yeah.
Hello，
Yeah.
班迪，before I 之前我还没有加入那个南传的佛教，我家里的是道教啦。等我有去找佛教的东西，等那时候我是去北传的，不懂是哪一个教。但他讲说，当你要看这个师傅，你要给200块；你要看这个师傅，你要看300块。他还要讲你给了钱才可以看到那个师傅，才可以什么什么，是这样的吗？
佛教啊，
对，然后讲要给钱的，而且是200以上。
这个就是通常就是不正的这个 正命了。
他们是摆在那个一个草场啊，在 MRT 很靠近 MRT，
OK
那我去那边看一看啊，怎么有这样的东西？
要看什么情况哦，通常是他们要抽款钱哦，这样哦。这样子
我也是有曾经去台湾的，
嗯
我也是去看，他讲说，当你要来 join 我们的时候，你要给 member 10块钱，10块钱你才可以进来我们的 member。对，哦，怎么有这样子？
我看每个有报名的那种registered society 啊，通常有这种 membership fee 啦。
你没有掺10块钱，不可以听他们讲东西。
哦，这样子啦。
啊，
哦
对，我去巴黎来就没有这样的东西，对，我觉得哎，我来这边比较。
对了对了。
哎，我真正的感觉到和尚不是要跟你拿钱的嘛。
对了。
看和尚，你要看师傅，不可能跟你拿钱的。
所以要看每个师傅有不同的这个 agenda 了，不同的出发点哦。OK， 还有什么问题吗？Yeah, one at the front. Microphone.
Bante, for the different meditations that you taught, right,
Yeah.
with the different object, do you advise, how would you advise practicing it, or basically just sticking to one object, or when do you advise changing the object?
Okay, so there is like a very like general solution. If the mind is very scattered, very all over the place, all very scattered, very cannot focus, then one should do samatha meditation first. Yeah, so that is the condition. And if let's say the mind is too lethargic, too sluggish, you find it too slow, like too steam, too stale, you can't do anything about it, then you can do more investigation first, do more vipassana first. Yeah, so that's the general idea lah. So you can switch between the two, depending on what's your state of mind. Yeah.
How about metta?
Yeah, so metta can have both samatha and vipassana phases also. So depends on situation, then you can switch accordingly. So, like for example, metta, the 4 sublime states. In fact, a lot of meditation objects, the 6 recollections, and so on, can be done throughout the whole day, as long as you're awake. So minus the sleeping time, so got discount. Now when you sleep, then you don't need to purposely reflect. But as long as you're awake, you can keep on thinking. For example, the 6 recollection, recollect the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, your precepts, your good deeds, your generosity, and the last one, Deva qualities. So these 6. So any positive virtue, you can keep thinking of them. So you can do this the whole day. So loving kindness is an emotion. You can do it the whole day. It's just like some people can get angry the whole day, or get grumpy the whole day, or get depressed the whole day. So we just do the opposite law. Loving kindness do the opposite. Okay, anyone else? Any questions?
But they just out of curiosity, we say that good Buddhists, will be reborn as a Deva or Brahma.
Okay.
All right. But there's also good Christians. They are also born in heaven. They always say heaven.
Yeah.
So will they be in the same world as
Okay.
us?
Okay.
And how do they communicate?
Okay.
Because you have even the Chinese Buddhists,
Yeah.
you have the Indian Buddhists, the Europe Buddhists.
Okay.
All of them
Okay.
speak the different language. The culture is so different.
Yeah, correct.
All right. I think we hear about the 4 heavenly kings, and
Yeah.
this normally come from the China.
Okay. Okay.
So then in Europe you don't have four heavenly kings.
Okay. All right.
So how do you explain this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, very good question, right? So this is very common question, especially in the interfaith scene. We're supposed to make friends with every religion, but then do we really believe? No, they go up to the same place as us, for example. Yeah. So for me personally, this is my personal opinion on here. It will depend on their karma again. Karma. So I believe karma is very fair, regardless of belief system. So a Buddhist can claim to be a Buddhist. They claim to believe in the triple gem, but if they say they don't observe the precepts well, they do a lot of unwholesome deeds, they don't have good karma, so the merit is very low, then is this lower realm. Yeah, so there's no guaranteed kind of saving unless one is stream enterer, yeah, and above. And same for whatever religion. My personal belief is whatever they profess, their deeds have to live up to the standard lah. Yeah, so that's my personal opinion. So the different realms depends on how much merit or how much good deeds you do lor. So if you happen to be the same level of goodness, then that same realm lah, like that lah. Yeah, so there are many realms. Yeah. So even if they appear the same realm, one may still have past inclination. Past inclination. It's not that you reborn in that realm, you have the same belief. No. One may have the same, will have the past inclination of their past life. That means they will have certain belief they hold on to from their past life. Yeah. So like some of the suttas talk about certain ascetic teachers from the past. Yeah, they passed away. Then they, as a deva, they come and see the Buddha and they share their experience. Yeah, so they talk about certain notions, or certain beliefs. So they still believe certain things they've been practicing before. Yeah. So they will have these we call past seeds, past karmic seeds ripening. Yeah. So probably the Buddhists who born as a deva will probably have inclination to help the Buddhists. And the Christians who born as a deva will have inclination to help the Christians, something like that. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Okay, if no questions, then we call it a night. Yeah, so we pay respects to the Buddha. Okay, first bow, second bow, third bow.